Hey, this is Tim Paige from LeadPages, and you're listening to the Dealer Playbook Podcast.
You're dialed in to the Dealer Playbook Podcast, where it's all about winning auto dealer strategies that deliver proven results. And now your hosts, Robert Weissman and Michael Cirillo.
Hey there, what's going on? You're listening to the Dealer Playbook Podcast, episode 41. Every single week, we're sitting down with just some incredible marketing minds and people inside of the automotive industry who are the movers and shakers to find out what they're doing to enjoy incredible success. That's what we want for you. My name's Michael Cirillo. I am here with Robert Weissman. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, what's going on?
You're always coming in laughing these days. Isn't this because we're having so much fun? Yeah, I wish. We've been talking about this for a couple of episodes now, maybe putting together like a blooper reel, because there's just some funny stuff that goes on here. But you know what? Super excited you've taken the time to listen into the show. Today's a doozy. We've had a couple of episodes that have been focused on marketing, and that's for good reason. There's a lot of opportunity for growth from a dealership perspective in the area of communications and marketing and advertising. And so you'll notice kind of a trend here. We really want to help you, whatever your role is inside the dealership, to get the most out of not only the money that you're spending, but the results that come from the efforts or the campaigns that you have going on. So today, we're super excited to sit down with a friend of ours, Tim Paige, from a company called LeadPages. We ask him some really cool questions that will help you get the most out of your website. And before we give it all away, let's maybe just quickly jump into our sit down with Tim Paige. Today, we are excited to be sitting down with somebody who Robert and I have actually been following for quite some time. I know in traditional senses that sounds really creepy, but you know what? With social media and all that kind of stuff, it's just not that creepy. We listened to this gentleman's podcast, ConversionCast podcast, which we'll encourage you to check out. He is the conversion educator for a company called LeadPages, which has phenomenal software that helps increase conversions and opt-ins for or from your website. We're sitting down with Mr. Tim Paige. Tim, thanks so much for being on the show with us.
Thanks so much for having me. And I'm really genuinely concerned now. Like, I'm going to be looking over my shoulder and like out the window just to find out if you guys are there behind me following me around.
I'll be like, yo, man, how's the new house purchase going? Just to like make it even creepier. Just grab one of your Facebook.
I'll be dressed in I'll be wearing a shirt the same color of the shades in like one of your rooms, blended in.
It just took a turn for the worse, and we just started.
No, but you know what? Super grateful to have you on the show. I know you're a busy dude. You got a lot of things going on. We were just talking pre-show how you did like 200 webinars last year, and you're already blasting out of the gates this year. So much going on, so much movement. It's cool to see what you're doing and see how you're helping people increase conversions from their websites and get opt-ins and all that kind of stuff. And that's really, I think, what we want to sit down and talk with you about today. Obviously in the space of car dealer websites and just different things that car dealers are doing this day and age, I wanted to turn it over to you by asking what you're seeing just overall in general are some of the common mistakes that website, webmasters or people who have websites are making when it comes to conversions. Because I think everybody says, man, I got a website. That's all I need. Traffic's going to start coming. And once the traffic comes, they're just going to automatically know what to do. And then a lot of people I find get really discouraged at the lack of performance. So what, from your vantage point, really focusing on this stuff, are some of the mistakes that you see people making on a regular basis?
Yeah, it's a good question. And one of the first mistakes that I find people make is when they're trying to figure out how to get their website to get results, their first question is always, how do I get traffic? You hit the nail on the head when you said that. That's the question that I get asked time and time again. Every week I do a webinar all about how to generate more leads. And it's really amazing because we'll get halfway through the webinar and people will go, well, this is great, but if my website's converting, how do I get traffic? And it's funny because traffic is not that hard to come by. You know, you can buy traffic. You can spend time getting traffic to your website. It's actually fairly easy to get. But it's the conversion side of things that is more important to focus on. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make, is not focusing on conversions. And with that said, you know, one thing that I always encourage, you know, car dealership owners and marketers to focus on is actually your list growth. And I know that might seem kind of like duh, you know, of course that's what we're trying to talk about here. But it's funny because, you know, we have this tendency as salespeople. You know, I spent 12 years in traditional sales environments. And so I know what it's like to want to close, right? I get that. You know, we want to get people into our dealership to buy cars. That's what we're trying to do. That's the goal. But nowadays, with technology the way that it is so easy for people to just make a decision by going, let me check out your website price. Okay, good. Let me check out their website price. Okay, good. Whereas if you can build a strong relationship with your potential customer, not only do you set yourself apart, whether it's through price or otherwise, but you also make a lifetime customer out of that person. So the last 3 cars that I bought came from the same dealership. And these are not, you know, $1,000 cars. You know, they're nice cars. And so if you kind of put things in that perspective, then focusing on growing your list would seem to be kind of the smartest move, because that allows you to have a way to communicate with your target audience time and time again, day in and day out. So what mistakes do people make when they're trying to grow their list? Well, the first one would be not focusing on it. The second thing would be focusing all the attention on you as the business. Okay, you always need to remember, when people get in that new car, or when people are driving that old beat up hoopty that they're trying to get to your dealership with, the only radio station they're tuned to is WIIFM. And I know that a lot of salespeople have heard that before, right? What's in it for me? That's what they're always thinking about. They don't give a crap about you. They don't give a crap about your dealership. They don't give a crap about what's so special about you. What they care about is how you can solve their biggest problems. And so if you tailor all of your messaging and all your marketing towards getting them to opt into your list, and it solves a clear problem that they have, you're going to see a huge improvement in your opt-in rate. And because of that, all of your messaging after that will be so focused on their problems that you will see a huge improvement in people coming in to buy new cars. And so how do you do stuff like that? Well, let me say this. The best way to generate a lead is not to give out a coupon. And I know that that makes a few people sad, because it's so easy to do. Here's a coupon for $500 off your next car purchase, or whatever it is. But that's not the best way to get somebody onto your list. Why is that? Well, first off, somebody doesn't know you from the next car dealership over, right? They don't know really who you are. They don't know what you're all about. They don't know why they should buy from you. They don't know if you're legit or not. And so giving them a coupon is not enough, because now you're just in the pricing game. All right. And nobody wants to be in the pricing game. Let's not focus on trying to get the sale because we've got the lowest prices, right? So instead, why not focusing on solving one of their biggest problems? And, you know, it's going to be different depending on your dealership and what kind of vehicles that you sell, what that messaging is. But think about the problem that your primary audience might have, and offer them a simple one-page list of tools that might solve that problem, or list of resources, or even a simple quick guide, right? So what if your lead magnet, your opt-in bribe, as some people call it, was a one-page checklist of all the things someone should look for when they're trying to find the right dealership for them? And it sounds kind of funky, because you're like, wait a minute, what if that's not me? But it's probably going to be you. If you're putting this much effort into your marketing, then you care about your business. And so you're probably the right dealership. So give them a checklist of all the things to look for, you know, and that those things don't have to be anything crazy. It can be, you know, something as simple as, you know, a website with whatever, you know, special things you have on your website. It can be professional, respectable salespeople. It can be whatever. But that's, you know, it's something that helps them solve their problem. And their problem is they're trying to figure out where to get their next car, right?
Yeah, you know, and just to jump in there, because I mean, this is I love this kind of stuff, because this is a lot of the stuff that we believe in. And I mean, you know, I want to just jump in here and say, you know, by virtue of doing this, you're creating this piece of content that just kind of keeps giving back to you time and time again.
Yes, absolutely. It keeps giving back to you, and the connection that you create with your audience by giving them something of value is huge. Another one that just kind of popped to the top of my head, and I've got a buddy who owns a car dealership, and I have to give him this one because I love it, is what if you did something that was like the top 5 insurance agents in your area, right? Because they're going to buy a car, right? They're gonna need insurance. So, you know, that's something that will immediately give you people that are definitely, you know, car buyers. They're shoppers. They're people that are looking for cars. Sure, they might already have a car, but at least you know that they have a car and that they're interested in doing some kind of shopping. So give them a list. Hey, the five top insurance agents, you know, car insurance agents in Syracuse, New York, or whatever. And so now when they're looking, it's easy for them to go, oh, great, this is one great resource. They check that resource out. Now they're on your follow-up sequence, which we can talk about if you want. But, you know, they're on your follow-up sequence, which, you know, provides more value and continues to show them that you're the dealership that gives a crap and you're the dealership that they want to do business with.
So you're setting yourself apart, and you're creating a piece of content for you know, what sounds like a group of customers who have already kind of progressed to a certain phase of the buying process.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Sorry, guys. The insurance agent list is pretty strong too, because then also what happens once the insurance agents catch wind that this dealership's got them listed on this list of the top insurance agents, then they're dealing with car owners.
Keeps on giving, because they're gonna feel more inclined to refer people to you.
No doubt. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, it's just the same kind of concept. You know, there was a gentleman wrote an article about, you know, online marketing tools in Forbes magazine on their website, and it included me. Right, so it talked about LeadPages, but it actually mentioned my name when it was talking about LeadPages, and for me, I'm, you know, that strokes my ego a little bit. I'm kind of excited about that. Forbes is a big deal. I've been a fan of Forbes for a long time. So I blasted that thing everywhere. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter. My family's checking it out. And so now this guy's article is getting all of this attention, which, again, is kind of a great way to you know, it's a great way to promote. And this is how we promote podcasts. This is how we do blog posts. Why not do the same thing, like you mentioned, with your dealership? You've now created kind of some kind of connection with the insurance agents. They're going to promote for you, and now your dealership is getting more attention.
And you're giving something that's worth sharing, you know, whether it's on social. Yeah, it's powerful. So to sum all of that up, it's give people something of value. And I mean, should the dealers be focusing on, oh man, what do I create? Or should they focus more on create something and let that content find the audience for you?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make, is they wait forever and ever. They think they need to create this big long video course, or they think that they need to write an 80-page ebook about how to maintain your own car or whatever. Like, people think they need to create this big stuff, but the amount of time you spend creating your lead magnet does not equal your conversion rate. So don't feel like you need to go out there and spend a million, you know, days creating this thing. Create something, get it out there, see how it works. If people aren't responding to it, you can move on to the next thing. But I really, you know, I love the list of resources. It's my favorite lead magnet to give away. For example, I'm you know, besides LeadPages, I'm also a voice artist. So I do, you know, commercials and TV shows and that kind of stuff. And on my website, one of my websites that I have for that, my lead magnet is the 5 pieces of equipment that I use to create all of my voiceovers. And people love it. It's interesting because people are going to hire me to create their stuff for them, but this is telling them, here's all the equipment that you could, you know, that you should get if you want to create high quality voiceovers. But
here's how to do exactly what you're going to pay me to do.
Right. And you know what's funny is they're going to look at it and they're going to see that it's like $5,000 worth of equipment or whatever, and they're going to go, screw that. I'd rather spend the few $100 to hire somebody to do it. And
plus,
it customer.
And you showed them your whole hand too, so it kind of builds that trust and a connection that's different than.
I love that. Yeah, it solves this problem that I think, you know, facing the public. I think dealers still have that that negative kind of feel that comes along with them, that they're just a bunch of scammers and stuff. And we try really hard to get over that. And we don't like to draw attention to it, obviously, because that's in a lot of cases not how it is. But anything that you can do that adds this extra layer of transparency to your business, I think is just going to be a bonus, customer facing.
Yes. And it's not easy to do. And I understand that. It's not easy to be, as transparent as you want, because it's funny. People, consumers think they want to see the inner workings of everything. But then if they see that, let's say, for example, they see that you make $1,500 profit on a car, they go, well, that's $1,500. That's too much profit. That's too much. You could cut that profit down and save me some money. But at the end of the day, they're not looking at it like, well, you've got a staff, you've got, overhead, you've got expenses, you've got all these things. You had to buy the car, the time, the experience that you've spent for 30 years building up this dealership. They don't see all that stuff. They just see that, that you're making $1,500, and that seems atrocious. So it's not super easy to be transparent in a way that doesn't turn people off. But the best way to do that is show them that you know what you're talking about, and provide as much value as you can for them in the experience, in the situation that they're in life, through things that you're giving away. And of course, you're going to do that in person. But before you ever get them in the door, this is such a great way to do that, is provide, a great lead magnet. Once they get onto your list, provide them emails. Don't just say, hey, we've got, 5 new cars, or, check out the all new whatever. Right? Don't do that, because that's just pushing. Instead, provide them additional value. Hey, here is, the first thing that you opted in was a list of the best insurance agents in Syracuse. Now, the next thing is, if you need your car repaired, here are a few suggestions for places to do it. Or here's one way to keep your car running longer. Or just these little things that you can give to people. And when you go, hey, we're going to help you keep your car running longer, they go, wait a minute, doesn't that mean that I'm not going to buy a car from you for a little bit longer? And in their head, they go, wow, this person cares more about me than making another sale. And suddenly you are almost like, like a mentor. And now they want to buy a car from you because you're the helpful guy or helpful gal.
Boosts your credibility and authority as well.
Yes, exactly.
Powerful. Okay, so provide value, focus on the customer, create a piece of content. Don't worry about it being perfect or not. Just get something out there that can immediately start, acquiring metrics for you to measure its effectiveness. Let me ask you here, maybe a bit of a lightning round for the next 2-3 minutes. Favorite metrics for you to look at, and why?
Well, for me personally, because I do so many webinars, it's revenue per registrant or revenue per attendee. Just because it's a great way to know, what your marketing dollars are worth. So if you're going to be driving ad traffic to a webinar registration page, if you know how many, or how many dollars per attendee or per registrant, then you can send more people through that funnel. But another one, a simple one that is really, really powerful just to know, is simply your opt-in rate. Believe it or not, people are like, oh, that's so simple. But, knowing your opt-in rate is paramount, because it will, and by opt-in rate, I should clarify, I mean site-wide opt-in rate. Because again, that site-wide opt-in rate, as opposed to just the traditional opt-in rate, is so important. It means how many people overall come to your website versus how many people actually opt in. And just to give you some figures, the average website right now has a 0.5% site-wide opt-in rate.
Yowzers.
Yep. So for every 100 people that come to your website, half of one of them will opt in. I don't know what the other half is doing. So the other, the website that is actually optimized, that's doing well, that's paying attention, maybe has a reasonable lead magnet, is averaging around 2%. And a website that's really focused, that's got, lots of different lead magnets, that's doing content upgrades, meaning a blog post where you give away something specific to that blog post, doing all these things, that website is generating around a 10% site-wide opt-in rate. So if you can kind of gauge yourself against that, you'll know how you're doing. If you're getting half of 1%, then there are lots of things that you need to improve. If you're hovering around 2%, I would say for most car dealerships, that's a pretty reasonable, successful number for your website. 2%? Yeah, believe it or not, 2% is it's a website that's optimized. It's not crushing it, but it's doing well. It's it's somebody who's paying attention.
Interesting. You said something else here that triggered a question. So, you said creating blog posts that have a unique piece of content that you want to give away or have people opt into. Yeah. How much time, I don't know if it's a daily basis, how much time is someone like yourself spending blogging, creating content, and creating kind of those additional pieces of content that you want to give away? Or is your process more like, I have all of this content and I'm going to repurpose it so that I can give it away with this blog post?
Well, let's just say you're going to stay consistent, right? You're going to write one blog post every week. So, everybody writes differently. I'm a very fast writer. I'm not the best writer, but I'm pretty quick. So I can knock out a blog post fairly quickly. A 1,000-word blog post doesn't take me that much time. But the question that I always get is, okay, I'm already creating this blog post. Now you're telling me to create something else to give away along with that blog post? And the answer is yes, but there's a simple solution to that. And it's to take the same blog post that you've already written, put it into a PDF format, and have people opt in to download it. And it really works because people love to possess things. They want to feel like something that they're doing is theirs. And so if you give people that thing that they can download, maybe they can read it later on their phone when they don't have internet or they're on a plane or whatever it is that they're doing. And just to kind of prove that works, Pat Flynn from smartpassiveincome.com, his first website was a niche site that was all about teaching architects how to pass this exam, the LEAD exam. Right. And his first ever product was an ebook that was all filled with blog posts that were already available on his website, but it was an ebook. And he sold it and made over $8,000 his first month selling that ebook. And so if people are willing to buy that to the tune of $8,000 worth of sales in 1 month, you better believe they're willing to opt in to get the same thing. So that's one thing. You could do checklists that enhance the value of the blog post. My favorite one, and then I'll stop this whole tirade, but my favorite one is I saw a blog post that was about how to build a wooden picnic table. All right. And the lead magnet for that blog post, the content upgrade, was a checklist of all the materials you would need to build that wooden picnic table so that you could just print that out and take it with you to the Home Depot or whatever to make sure you didn't forget anything.
No brainer.
It's brilliant for that blog post. And so it doesn't take that much time to create that content, but the conversion rate of one of those blog posts is insane. We have several blog posts that convert at 90%. Whew. It's ridiculous.
Ridiculously awesome. That's incredible, man. Hey, listen, you know what? So much information here, so relevant. I love the concept of creating content that's valuable, first and foremost, showing that you actually care about your target audience and then solving their problems. We spent a lot of time talking about this, so it's a breath of fresh air, having you on the show today and validating that, I think it's one more voice added to the grouping of individuals who are helping dealers achieve greater levels of success. So, you know what? In the interest of time, I certainly appreciate having you on the show. Robert and I are, like we said, big fans. Glad that we connected with you and that you've taken the time for us today.
Thanks so much for having me. And do you mind if I toss out a little resource for everybody to check?
Absolutely.
Please.
Here's what you want to do. So I mentioned that webinar that I do every week. It's absolutely free. You don't have to have LeadPages to join the webinar. But it's about 90 minutes of me just kind of answering questions and teaching you this strategy that we talked about. So if you want to join that webinar, just take out your phone right now. If you're driving, don't take out your phone right now, please, but you can listen to this again later. Text LeadPages, all one word, LEADPAGES, to 38470. So that's LeadPages. Text that to 38470 and you'll be registered to join me on that webinar. It's every single Thursday. It is a really jam-packed webinar. And there are hundreds of people that join us every week that go crazy about it. So I'd love to have you there.
That's incredible. And we'll also link to that in the show notes, www.thedealerplaybook.com/41. Tim, thanks so much, my man. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, guys. It's been fun.
Yep. Thanks, man. And that right there was Tim Paige from LeadPages and also host of one of my favorite go-to podcasts. It's called ConversionCast. Michael, how'd you enjoy that?
I liked it just because, you know, the sound engineer in me just loved like listening to, you could tell he's a voice actor. You know, he kind of mentioned it there, I think at the end, that he kind of has this other business that he does with voice acting and stuff. You know, so I enjoyed that. But what really stood out to me, and hopefully stood out to you listening, in that a lot of what Tim talked about today validates a lot of the other episodes that have focused on marketing, you know, providing and being something of value to somebody, not worthless to everybody. You've heard us say that so many times. And so, you know, hopefully if you're really wanting to get the most out of your marketing efforts, you've moved past the, you know, hum and haws of, oh man, I hope this works or whatever, and realizing that so many people, so many renowned internet marketers use the same strategies that you are getting here every single week on the podcast. So that was awesome for me to hear, just kind of some of the things that he said. That whole thing about offering information about the insurance, like brokers in the area, that was really cool to me.
Yeah, definitely. And that's just as targeted and valuable a lead as somebody that's clicking reserve a test drive or whatever, because they own a car, they're interested, they're you know, seeing that information now. So that was great. So, and make sure to check out the show notes to this episode, the dealerplaybook.com / what was it, 41, right?
41, dealerplaybook.com.
41, yes.
41.
Yep, and there you'll get access. We'll have a link to, if you didn't catch his text code that he gave out to register for his webinar, completely free training. We'll have the link in the show notes for that, and also the link for the Dealer Playbook Insights ebook.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We've got this cool new podcast player, like right on our website, that we've been testing out, and right built into the player, you'll see a little opt-in, you know, where you can put in your email and subscribe to our weekly newsletter. And in exchange for that, we're going to actually send you an ebook that Robert and I have put together, which is 10 incredible insights or aha moments that we've had listening to our guests, you know, from these 10 incredible experts. And it's volume 1, because our plan is to just keep pumping out future volumes of this book, just so we can give you as much valuable information as possible. So again, www.thedealerplaybook.com / 41. Don't forget, opt in for that for that webinar that Tim's putting on. It's so cool. And I've been a part of it. You know, Robert's been on it as well. It's just a ton of information. And then register or opt in for our ebook, which we know you'll love. There's just a lot of information in there. Until next time, thanks so much for listening in, and we'll catch you later.
Have a great week.